Hi Tarini. I hope you guys can hear me. Okay, so this is my first time doing a live where I'm operating, so I hope everything goes smooth. Thank you for joining us on a very humid evening. I can see that Lavina is also here. Hi Lavina.
Hi, Soumini.
Welcome back to our live.
Thank you.
So
You
I
can hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you really well, and you're audible and visible. I'm so excited to be doing this live with you because I think we've been working for so long together, but I don't think we've ever done a live or I don't know.
Yeah,
Have you ever done anything together?
actually not. And yes, you're right. We've been working together in CF with babies for so long.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's nice to be chatting about it and inviting so many people to listen to us talking about this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm super excited. So, in fact, I'm wondering how you're feeling because last time you were the one who was interviewing, and this time you're going to be interviewed.
Oh yeah, so I'm going to be interviewed. So that is good to know. But I think what I was having these thoughts, like, last time we spoke about what this pandemic could mean
Yeah.
for little kids, and
Yes.
today I'm aware that we're going to talk a little bit about what this pandemic has meant or is looking like for
Hmm.
parents, and what are the red flags in their journey.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and when you were telling me that we'll talk about it, I felt that, maybe, yeah, I mean, that's the natural next step, and
Yes.
to discuss about how the pandemic has been impacting our children and families and parents.
True,
So,
true. It's been quite a journey, roller coaster, I think, for all parents. And in fact, that's one of the main reasons why we decided to do this live because we are children first and we do work with children. But it's so important to hear the voices of the parents and their journey. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we thought of having you on this live because I don't know if everybody knows this, but you had a little one during the just after the first wave of the pandemic, and I
yeah.
think just after the second wave, he turned one, and so you are a mom to a little cute boy. So I was just, we were wondering that it would be really interesting to hear, your journey and like, how it's been for you as a mom before we get into all the like the professional bits and the work bit of it. But maybe we can, before we start, maybe should we wait for a few more people to join us in?
Yeah, I can see some people, yeah, in this moment joining.
Yeah.
Hi, Tarini. Hi, Mohit. Sanjana. Yeah. So yes, we should maybe join for more Thai Tanmay.
Yeah.
Um,
I think people are still joining in after, especially being a working day. I'm sure everyone's just wrapping up and getting ready for the weekend. Though I wonder what a weekend looks like now in the pandemic.
yeah.
So,
So yeah, I mean, I think I would maybe start talking a little bit about what was it like, as you asked me
hmm.
to. I don't know if there is a way to explain this, or I mean, even it's like pre-pandemic. I think
Yeah,
I have always seen a sense of um, mixed emotion, and the sense of being overwhelmed with the fact that parenthood is
yeah,
something I feel nothing really prepares you for it. I mean, even when we have been working with children for so many years, and
Yeah.
nothing prepares you for having to connect and
Yeah.
be embedding and learning with the
Hmm.
life force of a baby.
Yeah.
But even bigger is that doing that in a pandemic,
Yeah.
or when we did not know what it would mean. I mean, we none of us
Exactly.
knew, right? I think I would start by saying that something that helped me ground myself every time was that it's everybody's experiencing this together,
Yeah. Yeah.
and whatever works or
Hmm.
does not work for me is going to be a collective journey. Of course, I
Hmm.
would forget it every time, and I would feel like, oh my God, why me? And why am
Yeah.
I getting to be pregnant during the pandemic? And why am I,
Yeah.
having a baby in this fear
Yeah.
of safety, of and basic interaction and socialization being so
Hmm.
hard.
Yeah.
Um, I would often get into that zone, but
Hmm.
I guess one mantra that always helped me was that we're all in this together, for good or
Hmm.
for bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is to learn from other people's
Hmm.
experience during this time, and there is to see how people are
Hmm.
coping. I mean, there's no good way to cope with
Yeah.
experiences at this point. But I think that has helped me to witness everybody,
Hmm.
because I feel that everybody is having a story
Yeah.
to tell,
Yeah.
a journey to live. So that way, I think I was constantly telling myself that I'm not the only one who's experiencing
Hmm.
transformation, because
Yeah.
I truly felt that it was absolutely
Hmm.
transformational
Hmm. Hmm.
to have a plan and
Hmm. Hmm.
not
Hmm.
have a plan at all.
Is it possible to
So,
have a plan during the pandemic? Is what I've always wondered.
yeah,
I mean, thinking of my own journey, I'm just wondering that even when so-called pre-pandemic, when I was prepping to become a mom, there were so many. I had plan A, plan B, plan C, and none of those plans were used. So I'm just
really,
wondering that.
Soumini, somebody like you who's like always been top notch in planning.
Yes, I always have a plan A, plan B, plan C. I didn't use any of the plans because it's just such like nobody can prep you for that. So I'm just wondering, like, especially for moms, like my heart goes out, like how even parents, fathers, and everybody, like how do
Everyone.
you prep yourself to become a parent during where you, like you said, so many normal natural opportunities or support systems that are present just kind of are not physically present. They might be present in other ways, but not physically present.
Yeah. I would say that, as I said, that if I can think back and look back at
Hmm.
certain things that have helped me, has
Hmm.
one of the things that definitely was about managing things one day at a time. Of
Hmm.
course, that is
Hmm.
very hard and used to
Yeah.
take up way more resources than normal.
Hmm.
But I would say the fact that I felt that um, the
Hmm.
act of, or the experience of feeling in control
Hmm.
of,
Hmm.
um, you know, is the baby feeling okay? Is he sleeping okay? Is he
Hmm.
feeding okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
While you're so busy and caught up postpartum in
Yeah.
all of these,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
basic milestones that you are
Hmm.
busy with your partner,
Hmm. Hmm.
learning roles. I think because post pandemic,
Hmm.
that didn't stop. We had
Yeah.
to, figure out the
Yeah.
daily grind with the new baby,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was a difference in the way I'll get the social support. There was a difference in
Yeah.
the way we could access house help. There was a
Hmm.
difference in
Hmm.
the way that we were, even
Hmm.
managing finances, because the
Yeah.
work took a hit. My partner's role changed.
Yes.
So, because the externals were so many to
Hmm.
manage, I think
Hmm.
grounding ourselves in
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, what each day brings us,
Yeah.
and taking one day at a time, however hard it was, I think, what was helping us find meaning,
Hmm.
um, and even connecting to our and managing that pain
Hmm.
of those
Hmm.
sleepless nights, or
Hmm.
managing um, uh, difficulty with, like,
Yeah.
latching for feeding. So
Yeah.
just saying that, okay, we're tackling one thing at a time and we
Yeah.
can't tackle the
Hmm.
pandemic. That that bit is not in our control.
Yeah.
Um, so connecting to other people's
Hmm.
wisdom, connecting to the fact that everybody is in together, but
Yeah.
also that we will do this at our own
Yeah.
pace.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, frequent
Yeah.
breakdowns and finding systems where we could break down. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah.
also just being able to see how our I mean, I think lots of
Hmm.
learnings as a professional of, how as a therapist one would connect to
Hmm.
parents and tell them that, okay, ye
Hmm.
karke dekho, aise try
Hmm.
karo,
Hmm.
this is what it. So I
Hmm.
think the learnings of uh, doing that in a limited way, because now the
Hmm.
opportunities to the
Yeah.
multiple social scenarios have suddenly become limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say that it has been really, really interesting and
Yeah.
helpful
Yeah.
to learn from that perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about having an infant
Hmm.
during the pandemic and how that was exciting. Looking
Yeah.
at development and
Yeah.
milestones come through without getting really the opportunity how we would
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
parents to go
I
out
think
and
that's such a interesting point that you brought up. Like, I think I never thought of it like that. The fact that, when you have an infant in the home, in your house, and you're taking care, I think one good thing would be that the pandemic would actually go into the background, and your child, and bringing up the
yeah.
child, and of course there are obvious. It's I always say this, like there are the aha moments and there are the oh no moments of raising a little one, but it would, I think it would bring everything into focus, right? That would be the prime focus. So sometimes in one way it kind of takes away from, you might lose out on opportunities, but at the same time you are now so focused on this kid that you can forget about what's really happening outside,
I
and
would say
and
there were
celebrate.
moments.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
celebrate the each and every milestone. I mean, I really, really, I really congratulate, and I really applaud all parents, especially who've had babies during the pandemic and below 2 years of age, how they're managing to bring them up with this absence of so many systems and opportunities, and still being able to achieve those milestones, being able to I think that really needs to be brought into the limelight. That really needs to be celebrated. Ki, theek hai, everything has changed around us. The world has changed. And, but yeah, here we have one little one, and we're bringing up this little one into the world, and things are happening. It might not happen so smoothly or the way naturally, or, how it used to happen according to our parents or other family members or friends, but it's happening. It's still happening. And uh,
Yeah.
I think that would be a good grounding too, I'm guessing.
Absolutely, and I think another thing, as you spoke about what goes in the background and what
Hmm.
comes in the forefront. I mean, there's a constant feeling of loss of our life before pandemic, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
we can articulate that, and
Hmm.
I mean, it's almost like as a parent, I
Hmm.
see that for me and my partner both, that
Hmm.
we end up feeling the loss on behalf of our
Hmm.
child, even when the child
Hmm.
doesn't really know what
Yeah.
is there to miss. I mean, they have only
Exactly. Yeah.
experienced it, right? So
Yeah.
we are experiencing that loss. Of course,
Yeah.
to remind myself that the
Yeah.
loss is actually mine and I'm actually feeling bad on
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking and I'm experiencing that guilt that, oh
Yeah.
my god, my baby has not even experienced a park.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Regular.
Hmm.
I can count on my fingers how many times I've been able to take him out to a park
Yeah, yeah,
in the last 1 year. And yes, I mean, while I want to be able to tap into those opportunities, I'm aware that that's something that will be helpful for his sleep, his biorhythm, his emotional regulation.
yeah,
Still, because safety becomes priority,
yeah.
it is limited.
True,
And
true.
to enjoy in that moment becomes so hard.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I would say what pandemic has given me, like me as a parent, has been so much time to observe, and so
Yeah.
much, and even like me and my partner always talk about the fact that we would have gone back to work after a few
Yeah.
months,
Yeah.
or we still are working, but we are still witnessing so much. Maybe our learnings would have been very different,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
that's why I guess going by one day at a time and
Yeah.
learning this process one day
Yeah.
at a time has been helpful. It's been hard but helpful.
Sure. So I'm just wondering, you said this thing that, how the loss has been more for um, us as parents and us as adults than maybe for the really young ones, because maybe they don't know what they're missing out on, right? And we always, you've been saying that how you did find ways to ground yourself, or it's hard but you still try to. And I do know as the um the pandemic has brought so many fears and anxieties in us and so many questions. And in that moment, so of course, as a parent, you have to take on your own, and you have to take on your children's, and you have to plan for yourself, you have to plan for them. And in all our trainings, in all our workshops, in all our posts, in our conversations with each other, we are always talking about, find that moment to take care of yourself. Even in the video that we shared this week, we spoke about, those mindful breaks. And I always feel that whenever we are saying this, there might be parents out there, people out there, including, people like me, who would be rolling their eyes at us and going, Ki, what are you talking about? How do you take mindful breaks? How do you take care of yourself? There's so much happening. And,
Yeah.
there's so many, other than just a parent role, like you've taken on so many other roles, like you're working from home, you're running a household, you have to become your child's teacher, your child's play partner, your child's, you take on each and every role. So, how do we, like, that famous metaphor of how, put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then put it on your children. How do you, I mean, how has that been for you? Like, how do you actually make that happen? Or when you talk to parents, especially the parents and families that we work with, do come from a different, they already are struggling with more challenges than what, typically we see. And then telling them ki, bhai, take care of yourself also becomes quite a struggle. Sometimes even I'm scared to say that to a parent. So how has that been for you? Has it become any easier, or like what would your suggestion be?
Um, I think far from a suggestion, I can share a little bit of what has been my experience, and
Yeah.
both with parents that I've worked with in the past one and a half year, and myself. I guess if I talk about myself first, I think it's been very important for me to address and tell myself that I'm not doing well. And as a parent, it's very it has been very difficult for me to acknowledge that time and again, because you want to be in control, you want to
Yeah.
care for your child, you want to do it well, you want
Yes.
to because you are constantly feeling that your baby needs more and your child
Yeah.
needs more, because they are dependent on you for care.
Yeah.
And when they have whenever I've felt that we are not managing it well, that elevates the anxiety so much more. Thank you, Nentara. We love you so much after you. And the fact that telling myself that and stopping in moments wherein I am extremely overwhelmed, I'm telling myself this is not, I'm not fine. Acknowledging it and then asking for help has been very helpful. Asking for help, I mean, it could be different times, different forums. It has sometimes my partner, sometimes my family members, sometimes friends to just connect to the fact that I'm not doing okay. And also professionally to be able to stop and ask for the fact that I may need to connect to a professional at this point. How postpartum comes with a series of impact on a parent, and both mother and father or anybody who's caring for a child, how it really impacts it, in ways and wonders that we are not actually spoke about. We're not really prepared for it,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So,
yeah.
so telling ourselves that we need. I mean, asking for help at that time, and fine. I mean, you're not going to immediately get the help that you desire.
Yeah.
So maybe trying again and again, because at that time asking for help is hard because you know and you want to be able to do it.
Yes.
I think that has been my learning. I push parents that I work with to ask for help, and I think that empowered me to be able to hear that there were people around me and forums around me who were ready to help, and I was able to approach and receive. So I think that openness, however hard it is, I think it helps to take that push of asking for help. And the thing that you just spoke about, the mindful breaks, in practice, you're so right, Soumini. It's so hard because you feel it's endless. It's never ending. Where do you take that pause, or what is that bit that you can say, okay, now it's my time. Now it's me time. And that comes with a lot of guilt, and it's not just for mothers, right? It's for fathers also. I see that when they are off work and when they want to relax, as a mother, I'm looking at my partner and I'm looking at, okay, I've been doing this all day, now you do this, and they find it guilt provoking equally.
Exactly.
So I don't think it's about just taking that break, but also I think filling your tank up through the day with a lot more stuff that you enjoy together with your child. I would say exactly like how we recommend for our children that take because children have limited sensory exposure right now, so give them different sensory feedback, like offer different. It's like a lot of screen time is on, so give yourself those screen time breaks, or go out, get some sun, take a walk, all of that we recommend for children. How transitions are hard, going from one thing to other. I think it's hard for us as well then.
True.
So I feel that it is important, just the way we are saying that, we want to give our child all that stimulation, give our child all that input, which will be helpful to their growth. I guess it's about giving yourself that input as well. And it may not be about taking that break and then giving yourself that input. So I really feel that I want to check in constantly how when I say filling my tank up, I want to check in that how I am feeling through the day. If I'm feeling really depleted, empty, I would take my thing. I would choose to drop everything. And if it's about taking care of my baby at that time, then I will maybe add in something that I will enjoy. Even if it's like snoozing with him, or just playing dirty game like in water and just getting messy. So yeah, I mean, something that helps me is keeping my playful quotient with my child. I mean, sometimes it's just so hard to be playful also because you're so tired.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
but children ask for it
Sure.
because that's their job, right? And I
Yeah,
think
that's what
just
they're gonna do.
connecting,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
just
what you
connecting
brought
to
up,
that.
yeah, what you brought up is such a valid point that sometimes when we say take mindful breaks or, me time, especially when you have a really little one at home, it's very difficult to separate it, right? When we say take a break, it doesn't mean that it has to be a break in the sense that you need to go out of the house or you need to lock yourself in a room and, do something completely solo. Those breaks can be with people around you. So,
Yes, yes,
you anyways have to take care of your child. You anyways have to play with your child. You have to, like you said, do the sensory stimulation or, whatever. So then you become part of it, do it in a way that you will also enjoy it. And it doesn't feel like a chore. And, it feels like I'm also having fun. But Lavina, what I have as a question now, because I do think that as therapists and people who are working with this population, and being psychologically inclined, it's very it's somewhere ingrained in us, inherent in us, that we're able to pick up faster when we're feeling depleted. And it becomes easier for us to even ask for help, and that help could not necessarily mean help in parenting role, but help in generally in other things, like I want a break, or I need you to do a chore for me because I can't go away out of the house. So many times, even when we're working with families, we are the one who start noticing the red flags with the families we're working at. The parents are really tired, they need more people, they need a bigger ecosystem, or they need a break from some things. uh, I, I I do think that we talk a lot about what can we do, but we don't talk about enough about when we need to do it and how do you know it's time to do it. Like, how do we really get to know that, as a parent, as an adult, uh, I am tired. Like, most of the time we've reached that brim and then we say, oh my God, it's almost like we're overflowing now. So is there a way that, I mean, I'm also thinking about it. Like, how do we act? How is it that our senses pick up on that, we're feeling a bit depleted and we're feeling tired and we need a break and we need help? It's, you know,
Um, in fact, I mean, while you say that, Soumini, in fact, I feel sometimes as psychologists, as mental health professionals, we also push it for
yeah.
too long to reach that point that when we say that, oh, we need help because we feel
Yeah.
that, oh, maybe I'll be mindful of that and
Uh-huh.
I know my
Hmm.
threshold
Yeah.
and I feel we also take it is. I mean, as
Uh-huh.
Dr. Shelter just wrote here, it's
Hmm.
hard for people to ask for help. Even harder for mothers to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and to, I mean, I'm not sure if I have an immediate answer to that, but I
Hmm.
can think with you that to whenever. I mean, I think
Hmm.
there's a
Hmm.
stretch,
Yeah.
and and the stretch is in relationships
Hmm.
when you're
Hmm.
feeling your motivation to do what you
Hmm.
were doing on a daily basis
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
going intensely low,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
you are not being able to I guess come
Hmm.
back with, like, if it's
Hmm.
we're all struggling, I
Hmm.
think, with our
Hmm.
motivations in different
Hmm.
degrees. However,
Hmm.
I would say that at this point, with children, especially new
Hmm.
parents
Hmm. Hmm.
like myself, I feel that it's important to see what's not working for us,
Yeah.
on a daily basis, and also be able to say where all
Hmm.
the breakdowns are happening,
True.
right?
True.
So I would say that often I saw myself getting caught in this thing wherein I would start questioning my actions or questioning my
Yeah.
decisions,
Oh wow.
and when
Yeah.
that was
Hmm.
happening so much, so often,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I felt like, okay, like I'm not even giving
Yeah.
myself that benefit of doubt, or I'm not
Exactly.
being able to say that, okay, yeah, this was hard.
Hmm.
I've never done this before, or I have
Yeah.
not figured. There is no going out of this,
Hmm.
or going to a doctor is hard at this time. So I have to
Yeah.
figure it out. So I have to
Yeah.
call a doctor
Yeah.
and find out. So
Yeah.
not being able to go to the doctor is really like, I would blame myself for, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not giving the proper care to my baby at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, I
think when
think
I would
that's such a
blame
valid
myself
point.
so
Yeah.
many times, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yes. Sorry. I was just saying that I totally agree with that, because I think one thing we have to constantly remind ourselves as parents is that we are doing the best we can. So if it's not happening because I don't want to. I couldn't, or something else happened. So reminding ourselves, and that I think that self-doubt is should be our number one red flag, that we are doubting our intention as a parent. Ki, I am not doing this, I am not capable, I am not good enough. I think that should be our number one, like a red flag
and
to
children
going
pick
around
up
us.
on it, right?
Yeah.
And children pick up on
Oh
that,
yes,
and yeah,
yes,
and
yeah.
you have a 6-year-old. I'm sure
Yeah,
he
yeah,
picks up on that way sooner
yeah.
than even uh,
Yeah, in
little
fact,
baby.
if you have younger, I know that with, really young ones, they might not be verbalizing or saying things, but the moment they start talking, if you should really listen to what your children have to say. I'm amazed that some of my best parenting feedback comes from my little one. Like
That's so
she's
beautiful.
able to tell me exactly when I do something really well and when I've not been there for her as a parent. And it happened very recently where we were going somewhere in a car and my husband said something to me and I snapped at him. And she just looked at me and she said, "Don't you think you're getting irritated too fast these days?" Now that's a 6-year-old telling me. And it was like, oh, okay. So not only is people notice, I know this, but my child is noticing. And she's so quick to even acknowledge when I do the good stuff. So, it's if your children are talking, I always say this to all parents, your children will tell you what you're doing right and what
Yeah.
is not going right. You don't need to ask anybody else. Just hear them out.
And even when not talking, right, Soumini? I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
When they walk
even
away
when they're
from you
not
too.
verbalizing, there are
Yeah,
so many ways to share intention. And
exactly.
when you just said that shared this about your daughter, I think I'm thinking of some of the parents who have shared that how
Hmm.
they get feedback from
Hmm.
even children who are not yet verbal
Yes,
or who are
yes.
not yet ready for that interaction,
Yeah,
or not really telling them exactly what they have a
yeah,
problem with. Because
yeah.
I feel like what really stays with me
Hmm.
is when children start showing
Hmm.
big emotions and
Yeah,
chaos
yeah.
and disturbances, I
Hmm.
feel often that also a red flag to check on to your emotions. Are you also
Yes.
experiencing all those big emotions and chaos? Because
Hmm.
often I feel that children have really just joined your big emotions and chaos,
Yeah,
and hence you're displaying it.
yeah,
And to
yeah.
flip it, it is about when actually your children are showing super
Hmm.
big emotions and they are having meltdowns, um, they're having difficulty
Hmm.
adapt
Hmm.
to these
Hmm.
changes. Instead of really joining into that
Hmm.
big emotion or chaos
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
meltdown
Hmm.
by responding to them with that,
Yes.
it's about like offering that calm, which is so harder to
Yeah.
achieve when
Of
you're not there.
course. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. Yeah. I think,
So
wow, I love what you said. And I love the word big emotions, because I do stress upon this, that even little ones have big emotions. All of us have big emotions.
absolutely.
We don't have to become adults or older to start showing them. And when we feel our children are showing big emotions, I think it's a good place to again, do that reflection and just be like, okay, how am I feeling? And am I also feeling big emotions? Because if I'm feeling big emotions, I'm not going to be able to handle anybody else's big
And
emotions
yeah, and
too.
they are taking on to that big emotion, right? Like they are
Exactly.
exactly like the same thing. I'm filling
Yeah.
my tank up with
Yeah.
huge, overwhelming emotions, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm offering as a
Yeah.
space to my
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you have to meet my 1-year-old to believe the amount of big emotions he can have.
I'm
Um,
sure. Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
um, just us recognizing that the screaming and the shouting
Hmm.
and the tantrums and the
Hmm.
meltdowns, really just zeroing in on that and saying that, okay, what can we do to help him provide that
Yeah.
space of calm, was actually just as simple as making a routine and taking him out every evening.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I'm not saying it's ended all of that,
Yeah.
but it has come up. It's changed such a big deal. Like it is really given him that sense
Yeah.
of purpose during that. Like his voice seemed to have been heard. Where he was just
Yeah.
like, I want to do something. I'm getting bored, and I want. Are you not
Yeah.
giving? So did yeah we took him out regularly, and it was really helpful to just
Yeah. Yeah.
offering something and
Yeah.
seeing whether we can. Maybe I would have failed. Maybe
Yeah.
that didn't work. Um,
Yeah.
and
And
we
I
failed. We
think,
failed
yeah, yeah.
regularly.
And as parents, you'll fail quite often. Like Dr. Shaz has written, it's pretty messy. This journey of being a parent is pretty messy, and it's important to just keep it to that these are big emotions, that there are things happening around us, and because of that it's happening, and it's not because I am a certain person or my child is a certain person. And we shouldn't use these big emotions to label ourselves or our children. And just be. And you said something in the beginning, like that if children have lost out on certain opportunities, we have also lost out on certain opportunities. So of course it's going to stir a lot of big emotions in us. And I mean, the moment you become a parent, there are already so many emotions. Like, there's this whirlpool of emotions happening inside you. Then you add the pandemic, and then you add everything else. So, I mean, yeah, it's quite a roller coaster. And I think what becomes important is just to see what you can do in that moment, and, keep a check on yourself, and be present. I think my takeaway from this entire thing is just being present. Like I don't have solutions. I don't have answers for myself or other parents. But I just feel that just being present is uh, is good enough right now in today's world and in today's context. Just being present and saying that, what, I see you, I hear you, and when I'm going through it, can you see me? Can you hear me? If we're just all here as a community together, uh, we'll just hopefully overcome this rough patch.
Absolutely, 100%. I think this thing that you said, that it has, I think it has to be as a community, right? Like
Yeah.
it cannot be just these new parents or old
Hmm.
parents, and the parents holding this, because
Yeah.
these little kids who are literally born just
Hmm.
now, they
Hmm.
are seeing the transformation and the transition,
Yeah.
even without realizing that they are
Hmm.
experiencing this. So
Yes.
I think it will be about like the
Yeah.
learnings that we will have during.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
are in a part. We're in creating history. I mean, I mean, we are creating history, but we're part of what
Yeah. Yeah.
will become very, very big in history. And
Yeah.
as a community, if we will have to, I guess, just be there
Hmm.
to say that the kids of the future or the tomorrow are going to be kids of the entire community and everybody. And just
Yeah.
like so we'll have to do it together to find ways how the community responds to the children and their feelings and their learning from how
Yeah.
the post-pandemic world shifts.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a valid point, because now, as these children will come out into the world, it won't only be just the parents' responsibility to make sure that they feel safe, they feel all these new experiences that they will have, they feel comfortable in that, they understand that. It will not only just be the parents, it'll be we as people will have to be mindful. Like if I'm meeting a family tomorrow in a space, and if I'm feeling that the child is feeling a bit overwhelmed, or the parents are feeling overwhelmed, it's all about us as a community, how we respond to each other. And I do
Yeah,
see that how we have responded to the crisis, and how people have helped each other, with when we went through the second wave, and whether it was emotionally, physically, financially. I think so it's there in us that we can do this for our children also. Let's not, just because they're little, let's not ignore them. Let's be a little more mindful. Let's be a little more aware. And in fact,
Absolutely. Just
yeah,
one thing you just said, like, how it's going to be before, I think, initially we used to think of, how airplanes and flights and,
yeah,
that experience on the train or
yeah,
public transport when, there used to be one or two kids who used to find it difficult
yes,
because they were finding it maybe very overwhelming
hmm,
or extremely hard to manage so many
hmm,
people.
hmm.
I can just only imagine, imagine when the
Yeah,
world opens up, and these
yeah,
little kids who've never been on a plane, and then they
yeah,
get to be on a plane or a train.
hmm.
I think we all as a community, we have to be open and mindful of the fact that there'll be a
Yeah.
lot of crying babies on the plane, and there'll be a
I think
lot of
forget about planes. There'll be a lot of crying babies, even maybe in a park. Like I
in a
think,
park. Yeah,
when a child will
absolutely.
go to a park, who, if somebody who's not been exposed so much yet, and suddenly we go to a park and there's noise, there are children running around, playing, there's swings. The first time a child sits on a slide, maybe they won't like it, and then what do the people in that park? How do they respond?
How they responding,
Will become
that'll be so
so
important.
important. I think, yeah, I think we just all need to be just a bit aware and mindful of everybody in our space right now. Like, how everyone is feeling, how everyone is responding. It can feel it can feel exhausting. And like I
Yeah.
said, then in that situation, you don't need to offer a solution. You don't need to help a mother. You don't need to help the child. Just being present, being non-judgmental, and just being there. Yeah, it's weird times. Everything's weird. We don't know. So yeah, I mean, we don't need to wait for our children to verbalize it. I think just being
Yeah.
and like Dr. Shelter is saying, each other's allies. This is the time for us all to become allies, and it's no longer about them or they. It's us. It's we. It's all of us together.
Yes.
So
Thank you so much, Soumini, for
this was
this
so much
conversation.
fun. I really enjoyed talking to you, Lavina. And hats off to you, like I said, to all the parents and all people working with children and being present for children and understanding and trying to understand their journey and hearing their voices and trying to represent their voices. We do at Children First, our developmental services was something that was constantly working for and with children and families with neurodevelopmental differences. But I think in today's world, we are trying to create a community of concern for everybody, any family, any child, any young kid, any adolescent, young adult, whoever is having a difficult time or might need some kind of support, we are there for that. All our resources, pandemic related resources, would also be available on our website and on all our social media. So feel free to reach out to us if you feel there's something that we can help and support with. And we are always trying to rethink and recreate for our community, especially during the pandemic. So thank you, everybody, for joining in. We'll be back with one more live. And thank you, Lavina, and lots of love
Thanks,
to your little one.
Soumini. Thank you. Thank you. And to Imara as well, and all the people who joined it and sent such amazing thoughts. Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone. Yeah. Bye.
Okay, bye.